but also B, one of the things that we're really wanting to do is build a resource library. And this is going to allow for us to have those on file and have our parents, be able to pull those up when they need. We're going to go with we're postponing our traditional camp week, and hoping to do something in late August, but we're just not sure. Obviously not going to force anything. But during the traditional week of camp, we're going to do a camp in the box kind of thing, which we're really excited about. And one of the things that we're working on is how can we incorporate some stuff for parents as well. I was talking to Aston earlier. We are going to do a counselor acceptance letter for our parents to give them with their campers' names, with, what to do, some helpful camper or counselor tips, as well as if you have any questions or problems, please call, and then we're putting their number. And we're just going to try and kind of create some fun opportunities for them. And hopefully a lot of the programming that we're planning with the camp in the box, we're going to hopefully be able to use at a day camp or day event later on. So I'm just trying to prepare. And when talking with Melissa McNichol from Rappa Hope, she had said, under promise and over deliver. So that's kind of the motto for right now is just kind of play it safe and respect that, it's a crazy time, and we want our kids we're a portion of the kids' lives. We're not all of it. And we want to make sure that, they know we're here for them, but not overwhelm them with more Zoom.
Ian, is there anything that you feel like COCA could help you with? Is there anything you feel is a barrier for your camp right now with virtual programming?
I think one of the things that we're struggling with is longtime volunteers not understanding the idea that we're not trying to replace camp, that we are trying to provide the best of what we can right now. Like, this is the situation we're in. This is the best we got. And we know we can't provide the same thing we do at a week-long camp, something in a mail sent to you in the mail. We can't do that, but this is the best we can. And so trying to find different things that we can do, whether it be like virtual programming right now or not, but realizing like, hey, this is what the kids need. And like, that needs to be the thing. It's not about what you are so great at doing that they can't live without. It's what can you do for them now? And so one of the things that we've kind of challenged our volunteers for is I've been at Camp Happy Days for 3 years, and the whole time I've heard it's not about the, camp isn't about wherever it is, it's about the people, and it's like, that's our challenge to them now is, if it's not about the place and it's about the people, now's the time to prove it. So that's kind of the attitude we're going for. But I think kind of helping people understand that this isn't replacing camp. Like, it's not. We're all bummed we can't have camp. So we're trying to do something until the next time we can see each other.
Have you thought about like the platform you would use or the platforms you'd use to reach campers or families? So we're going to try and, we're going to try and do some cabin chat stuff through Zoom, and do Zoom is something that we're choosing, not because it's convenient for us, but it's something that our campers have been using now for a couple months with school, but also we're trying to kind of, for that week, we want to have activities in our box that they can pull up on YouTube or something that don't have to be live, because people aren't, we have a lot of campers that might not be able to get to, they might not have access to internet or a computer or a phone. And so something that we can do, so uploading videos to YouTube and stuff like that, as well as stuff, but we really don't want it to be, we want to encourage them to safely get out, get air, and not be in front of we don't want to be school. Like, that's what school is right now. Like, school is Zoom. School, like, work for us is Zoom. And so we want to be different. That's what camp is. We are different. And so I think we're trying to provide different avenues to be that. Awesome. You got anything else for us?
No.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
All right. Don't be shy. Feel free to unmute yourself. Let us know what you're thinking.
You can also use the chat box to add any concerns, barriers, questions you have. Who's next? Jen, I see you unmuted yourself. Awesome.
I did. I'm not sure how many of you, as far as your registration site, I'm with Camp Make Dream, by the way. We use CampDoc for our online registration site for our campers. And I just got off a webinar about 45 minutes ago that they did that was actually, the first little bit of it was really, really helpful. There was a woman from the University of Michigan who had to create some online virtual programs for their at-risk kids on campus, and there was some different links in there that I'll put in the chat that are really helpful, because there's a whole thing about the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. So it talks kind of about the different ages and different stuff like that. So kind of a breakdown of some different things to consider when going virtual, as well as like accessibility. So there was like a spot for resources about if you have a camper who doesn't have reliable internet access, reach out to the schools, because that's something that the schools are already in the process of trying to help them get. So there were a couple of great resources in there. And so I'll either forward it on to somebody, at COCA, or I can try to drop some of these links into the chat.
Awesome. I will drop my email in, and I can distribute it to everybody on the meeting.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome. Is there anything, Jen, that COCA can help you with?
Well, I know that lots of my other team members are on this call as well, so I probably would yield that question to one of them, because I know that we have made the decision that 3 of our camps this summer are going to be virtual camps. So we've kind of been working on what that looks like. And we did have to cancel a couple of spring retreats for adult women over the age of 21. And we decided we're going to do a truncated virtual retreat for them. So we just sent that invite out to them because they didn't know anything about it. They had just been canceled. So we sent that out today, and already starting to get a little bit of feedback, and people are excited for it. So, but as far as what COCA can do, I'll let somebody else on our team if they want to speak up, because I know I saw several other names.
Thank you very much for sharing that. Who's next?
Hey, Richard.
Sorry.
No problem. We'll go Rich, we'll go Jennifer, and Joseph, if that's cool.
Sweet. All right. So I see on the side there, Ryan had the same question actually that I've been trying to figure out about the Zoom. So it's more on the techie side. And yesterday we did like a little shakedown, and Chris, you were on there and had the same thing about TechSoup and how they offer a discounted rate, the admin charge. So I guess what it comes down to is when you're thinking about camp and you're thinking about how many campers you have there at one time, and what it may or may not be, because if you're all not following the virtual camp like Slack group or the Facebook pages, you probably see a lot of things happening all at once right now, and different ideas. And it seems like sometimes you might have like 5 kids signed up for a session, or like 12 at max. So Pro seems about the right way to go. And there are those breakout rooms that you can do as cabin groups, or bunks, as some of the other virtual camps are calling them. However, what's the cost when it comes down to it? Like, so Pro allows like 100 people, and you can have a couple of hosts and like up to 50 co-hosts. Some people are doing like 2 pros. Does that, when you use TechSoup, does that mean it's just the half that cost for the month or the year? Or are we looking at a cheaper rate if you use like a coupon code? Because I saw a coupon code that was like $2 cheaper if I went right through Zoom. So has anyone flushed any of that out? I'm just thinking, being good stewards of our donor dollars, and what might we be able to use and what's too much. And I have no clue, Ryan, on the webinar add-on, because I think that's something outside of what we would need. You have a bigger camp though.
So if you go through Zoom and get or through TechSoup, excuse me, and get which you can get in, your organization can get a membership in, the membership's free. You just pay an admin fee for whatever hardware or software you choose to access. The Zoom admin fee is $65 for a year. And then we can add as many things as we want. And whatever we add throughout the year will still be 50% off. So for us, I bought 4 host keys so that I have a host account, and then each of my program directors has a host account. And it was less than $400 for the whole year to do those 4 and have, the pro account. Whatever else we add will still be 50% off that price.
Thanks.
I dropped the link to the TechSoup Zoom options. So if you're a 501c3 and you're not a member of TechSoup, now would be a great time to explore that resource. If you are a member, they have a heavy discount on Zoom options. And if that's the route you're planning on going down, it's a great route to explore. COCA uses the Pro version, and that allows for up to 100 participants. Over that, it makes it really hard to manage people by yourself. So just something to consider. And it's really easy to add add-ons as you go along. So if you start off with one package and then you decide you need an add-on, it's really easy to update that. So just a FYI, if you are exploring Zoom. The other thing I will say is going forward, and I'll drop the link in the chat box and email it out, but we are going to be offering like one-on-one Zoom help sessions through COCA. So if you need some help with Zoom, please feel free to reach out. All right, Jennifer, you are next from Make a Dream.
I was just going to follow up on what Jen said, and actually it's not so much about virtual camps in general, but I know COCA has been great about the setting up town halls and Zooms like this, and that's awesome. I feel like sometimes there's information that gets out that one of our folks might get and others don't. And I heard through the grapevine, I think one of our staff members took part in the medical town hall last night. But Matt, mostly for you, I guess COCA has put out a letter about sort of the summer season, and just wondering if we could get a copy of that, because none of us seem to have recalled seeing it, and just sort of what the context is there, because we're very much in the midst of making decisions for our entire season about in-person, virtual, some combination thereof. So trying to gather all the information we can. Appreciate it.
That letter that I sent out is actually on the website as well. A copy of it, there's a link to the letter I sent out on the website, COCA's website.
Fantastic. I will look for that again. Thanks.
Not a problem. And if for some reason it's hard to find, just let me know and I'll be more than happy to get it out to everybody again.
Thanks.
Not a problem.
You can also, just to Matt's point, you can access all of the town hall slides, the notes, the chat logs, the recordings, all those things from COCA's homepage. So if you click on the homepage, you will see Matt's friendly face, and then you'll see all the links to different resources right now to help you out. And if there's things that you don't notice on there, email those things to Don, because he needs to be the one that updates those. And be as specific as possible with what you'd like to see on the website. All right. Joseph, you are next.
Yes. Hi. So if no one really knows me, I'm with Camp Sunrise in Maryland. I'm the director of our sibling camp. Sun Sibs is actually Memorial Day weekend, so we had to go ahead and cancel our in-person camp. We are going virtual. We've come up with some great ideas, and actually just a matter of 2 weeks of going virtual, and we're doing a similar thing. We're calling it Camp in a Box, and we're sending a box full of activities home from pretzel kits, to like blank t-shirt with fabric markers so they can make tie-dye at home. Our normal gifts we give out and stuff, and we have a whole bunch of activities like scavenger hunts. So kind of like an idea where each person participates in a scavenger hunt, finds something, post it. It would go to, a point thing for their cabin at the end of the weekend. Whatever cabin has the most points. We haven't quite figured out all the details of what they would get, but something like that. We have a lot of outdoor stuff too, because it's on kind of the same thing. We don't want them in the house doing schoolwork. So, the activity stuff, I think we have a pretty good idea on, plus other ideas we're not even using because we have come up with so many. And then my biggest worry still now is, and it was the same one when we started this idea, was what platform to use. And because what we want is, we don't want, with just to send the box home and then go do all the things in the box and take the gifts, and there's no interaction. The interaction is the key part. So we like to have the activities where they, if it is a tie-dye, they post a picture of their tie-dye or a video of them making their tie-dye, or if one of the outdoor scavenger hunts, a video of them going outside, or take a picture of it. So it's that platform thing that to us is still our biggest worry. I set up I did a Google Classroom with a bunch of our committee members, kind of test that out. Google Drive, where you can at least put everything, but doesn't have quite the interaction. I did a little research on Basecamp today, because that was thrown at us the other day about a possibility. Someone said to use that at work, which has some upsides. Haven't started a free trial, but that's kind of what I'm looking to see, what other platforms people are using.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Joseph. You bring up a lot of good points. One of those things is don't abandon your camp outcomes at this time. Those are some things that you can really build off of. So if one of your camp outcomes, for a lot of us, it's connectedness, there are ways to explore that. And that's what a lot of people are looking for right now. So still look at those short-term outcomes that you are wanting to achieve through your camp programs, but now see how you can do those through remote programming. We're all pioneers and explorers right now, going down the same path. Just some people are a few steps ahead of us right now, but we're going to try to get everybody on that same level, on that same path. So who is next to share with us, please?
So I just wanted to add something that I said last night in the medical town hall that we didn't consider. We were speaking to a local camp, and they actually told us that their insurance company reached out to them and said that, if they have virtual camp, if they have a video and they do a challenge, or if they do camp in a box and somehow the child gets hurt doing that activity, the camp is actually liable for them getting hurt, which I actually saw it in a Facebook group being discussed too. It's kind of a weird, probably purely American concept that would only happen in this country, but that's something that we have to consider now too.
Ryan, thanks for bringing up that point. The other thing is, don't abandon your best practices because we're going virtual. So however you would navigate starting a new program for your camp, one of those things should always be reach out to your insurance carrier to see what that looks like. The other thing is what does volunteer training look like, or what does training look like? So building that foundation before you launch the program is going to be tremendously important too. The thing is our tools just look different and the setting looks different. We have our phones, our computers, and our mailboxes now instead of a campsite. So what do these things look like to be able to reach our goals and be able to set that foundation to be able to reach those goals? Thank you for sharing that, Ryan. All right. Anybody else?
Hi, oops, I went away from me. This is Deb from Camp I Hope.
Hey, Deb.
Hi. I need the Zoom tutorial, obviously.
No problem.
So we were on the medical call as well last night. So we had talked about our camp is looking at doing some of the camp in the box things and sending some things out. And we were going to do our normal flagpole probably later than we would normally do, but our music volunteer is going to lead that. One of the things that, as we were talking through some other activities today, was how do you keep the older kids engaged, other than maybe cabin chat? And so that's kind of where I think a lot of the activities we've talked about are going to be really good for our younger subset. But where we're struggling right now is anybody have ideas to share about what do you do with, those 12 and above kids? So any help there would be helpful.
Awesome.
I'll jump in real quick. So what we are thinking right now, schedule-wise, for the week, we'll do like a morning roundup and an evening like activity. But our activities during the day, because we expect folks to probably be out and about, kind of like midday, and not want to stay in front of a computer screen for too long, especially since they're doing a lot of that right now. That we would run maybe and we do our rotations through our program activities as cabin groups or as age groups. So oldest boys and girls together doing art. So we would break that out into 3 separate session rooms and have our art director like run one for that age group at that time and have some other activity for those for just like a morning rotation. And we're not even sure how long that's going to take and how many will be there, but that's my present plan right now for morning roundup. Do your usual camp thing, wacky hat breakfast or whatever you do, flagpole, and then into one activity that we can send out in that camp in the box or some other group called it the camp backpack. So today, put Monday into your camp backpack and make sure you have all your supplies, and do one cabin activity. The one thing that I think we all would agree that is missing from, and we don't want to miss out with for virtual camps, is the ability for the kids to connect with each other, that community. So even if the activity is a bust, especially with the teens, and they're like, I don't want to do this, they just may very well just want to talk to each other and see how each other are doing. So I would suggest, especially for the older ones, to incorporate some sort of psychosocial portion in there so that they have some talk time with each other. So that's what we're planning, at least.
Rich, I think you bring up a good point too. Like, make sure that you have some kind of psychosocial like resources available, because these are going to be times where things bubble up just like at camp. So if you personally don't have that capacity, make sure that you have resources available when those things do arrive. You're going to be able to see a lot more things because you're literally in people's homes with these Zooms things. So think about being like the mandated reporter, rule of 3, all of those things as well. So those are going to be really important things. All right. Anybody else? Let's keep this going. Jim, what's up?
And Deb, just another idea for you. Rich kind of alluded to this a little bit ago, but there's actually a Facebook group right now. It's the Virtual Camp Ideas group. And then there's a Slack app that apparently it is totally dedicated, or has a section that's totally dedicated to virtual camps. So there's everybody that is trying to figure this out is all kind of using that as a platform to bounce ideas off of each other. So you might be able to put your more specific age groups in there to come up with what type of activities versus cabin chats and stuff like that work for your age group to keep them engaged and active.
And I'll just add one more to that. I believe with this group, especially as this gets closer and closer to more folks' camp time, I'm hoping that being COCA, as we like to borrow and steal from each other, I have no problem posting what we're doing calendar-wise. I reached out to the rest of the Chicago camps to talk to them about a week ago about their schedule and what we can do to work together, since we may see each other's kids very much so over the couple of weeks that we all run camp. So anything that we come up with, I have no problem if there's a way, Aston, to get like the like a Google Drive or something that they can say, hey, here's something that we're putting together and here's the tools that we're using and this is where we're getting it from, because that's how I do it with our activities team, and we start planning it all and just dropping it in there, and beg, borrow, steal, whatever you want to do, it's yours. So it's not like it belongs to me. I probably stole it from somebody else anyhow.
Thank you. I did have another question. I can't remember what call I was on, but somebody was saying, like, when you try and have a big group on Zoom, that they had different adults or different counselors that could help manage. Does anybody know how that process works?
Yeah, I can help you out with that. So you as a host on Zoom can make other people co-host on the platform. This is good for a number of reasons. One, it's really impossible to manage like a large number of people on Zoom, because, and there's some best practices to go along with having a session on Zoom that we can talk about, but you can make other people in the meeting a host. So, and they can have those same capacities that you do. So like, Matt's now a co-host, and that was as easy as it was. The other thing to consider too is making other adults a co-host as well, because if you lose internet and you're the single host on those meetings, the meeting's going to go away. So making somebody else a co-host is really important. Sometimes you can adjust the settings where the meeting will still keep going. But if you're the only adult on that meeting, you're just going to have a room with 30 or 40 kids without any like adult facilitation, which probably would not look great for your camp. The other thing is like training your staff on how to manage a Zoom session. What some of the other camps are noticing is some of their like best counselors at camp don't have the same skill set to do like a Zoom facilitation. And some of their like counselors that might not have been like what they thought were like the cream of the crop are super great at Zoom. So just kind of like evaluate those skill sets. The other thing is kind of assigning roles too. So it helps to have someone as like the performer. So the person that's facilitating, like directing the action, and someone else that's able to do the techie stuff where it's, I need to mute this person, they're sharing their video, like have someone on top of the tech side of stuff as well. And that way you can really own those roles and move forward with that. But we can have a session on or some form of content about Zoom management. I think that might be helpful. All right. Anyone else?
Heather, I'm from Camp COCA-I, and we have canceled. We do some programs in the spring, which we have canceled. We haven't called the summer yet. Our first program is our bereaved teen group. And so Dr. Mike and I did do a Zoom meeting with the bereaved teen. There was about 17 of them. We did exactly what you said. I was the tech person and he was sort of just with the group. And in that age group, they're 13 and up, and they really did just want to talk to each other. So it was they were very appreciative that we provided the opportunity for them to talk. It did not go into the depth that it can or that it would probably have gone in person, which is probably best since we aren't together with them to make sure they're okay afterwards. But it was very successful. it went much better than we had thought it was going to go, but it was very successful. I do have one question though for the group. We're going to do our family camps, but virtual and in a box and a lot of that stuff, trying to do some parent programming simultaneously with kids so that the parents can talk to each other while we're with their kids, which again is age dependent on whether they can participate or will find it interesting. And a lot of what we're focusing on is tying kids to our physical site and, calling the cabins the same thing. But has anyone found a great way to engage new campers, people who haven't been to camp, who don't have that connection, who don't know all the silly names, who don't know all the counselors' silly names, or that even counselors have silly names? And so, again, I know we're all doing the absolute best that we can, but I still worry a little bit about the new people that we're not getting, and not sure that the content of what we're doing is engaging for new campers as it will be for people who already know how the system works. Like they know what baseball lunch is. So if you do virtual baseball lunch, great. But if you've never been, I just don't know if in the group anyone has thought of that or had great ways of including the new campers.
I'm going to go again and say we'll probably do the same thing we do at camp, especially if they're new. Send them a heads up. Hey, here's a couple things you want to pack for camp for these special themed breakfasts that we do. So we'll give them all that. Sorry, there's apparently some background noise. Lisa. Okay, sorry about that. Whoa. Working from home is fun. So we'll send them that, a heads up, and basically like you would probably do with your new campers, introduce them to camp in one sense or the other, probably in that cabin group. When you get a chance to break them into that cabin group and do your introductions just like you do at camp. And these guys have been living probably in front of a screen doing virtual schooling, the e-learning. So it's just different shift and hopefully a little bit more fun.
Awesome. Heather, the other option too is, sometimes it helps to have those like family programs first, just for people to feel engaged as a whole family, because now we're really selling like a completely different like value proposition, and parents or caretakers are going to be able to see like the inner workings of camp now that some of them might not normally see. So being able to open that door to like get that initial buy-in as a family can add that like sense of safety and like structure that kids might have to be able to feel more comfortable when it's just them on a virtual program. So just something to consider. Also, Heather, what is baseball lunch? The people want to know.
Knuckles, would you like to tell what baseball lunch is?
Yeah, hi everyone. Sorry I joined a little bit late. My name's Knuckles. I am the assistant camp director over at COCA-I. I just actually put it down in the chat box, but baseball lunch is one of our themed lunches that we host on Tuesday afternoons. And we start off with, we have a DJ, usually it's myself for the past couple of years, but we play music all throughout lunch. We start off with an imaginary little game of baseball. We have our 2 strikes and then a home run. We run the bases, and then the counselors come out dressed in their baseball attire, throwing hot dogs and chips and gummy snacks all out to all of the campers, just as if they were at the ballpark for a game. Throughout lunch, we play music and hang out and eat all these ballpark snacks, and then have our 7th inning stretch announcements and just enjoy some fun baseball themed food.
Heather, this is Melissa from Camp Rising Sun in Connecticut. I could chime in. We've been doing a lot of Zoom calls, and I've been kind of spearheading it with our campers and counselors. So we had a mini camp mini camp weekend scheduled in March, which was canceled. So we did have a few new campers. And what I did in the beginning was with Zoom, you could change like a virtual background. So in the back, I would put our water slide, and I would have our campers kind of tell them about our water slide and what we did at waterfront. And I would take different photos that we have over camp and kind of display them behind me, and have the campers kind of explain what we do at camp. And I think it really helped them to kind of imagine, like, if they were there, this is what they would be doing with the campers.
I like that. Thank you.
And Heather, just to kind of piggyback on what she was just saying, something else that we were looking at doing is we're putting together kind of a quick little video using still photos that we have of our facility. And so like when we do like an introduction circle and we're getting to know each other anyway, we can kind of share our screen, have this quick little couple-minute video showing our campus. So like all of the cabins will be there. So here's a picture of Beartooth Cabin. So when you get told that you're in Beartooth, you kind of have an image in your head to kind of be able to put with it as well.
Anne, see your hand up.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. Anne from Camp Sunshine in Maine. And we have canceled sessions through June at this point, and, you know, just still looking at summer, but thinking and have not yet implemented any virtual camp programming. So just formulating thoughts around that. And I'm wondering how those of you who have already run some, made some decisions, how you are deciding about how densely, for lack of a better word, to schedule or plan the camp days, especially if you're running camps that typically would have a few different programs running simultaneously, say at a family program.
Not to put pressure on anyone, but has anyone considered that? What are your thoughts around that as far as scheduling and dosage of your programs? All right, we can circle back to that. But I think one thing to really consider during this time is like making sure that you like evaluate your own capacity for programming right now, because we all are experiencing this too. Like, we're not isolated from like the stresses, the concerns, like working from home when we're used to being around people. You might have your own camp inside your home that you're managing. There's a lot of stuff going on right now, and we all deal with stress very differently too. So just taking that into consideration, because like virtual programming doesn't have to be a replacement for a program. It's not the first like thing for us, but it's the best we have right now. But it's also something we can work on going forward, because there might be doors that open from this that we're able to remain connected with people that we might not be able to. Sorry, I'm reading the chat box right now.
So I want to touch on scheduling real quick.
Yeah, go ahead, Joseph.
Thoughts, you know, ours is only a weekend. It's Memorial Day weekend, so it's a little bit shorter. But, you know, our feeling has been, we have all these activities, and we're not putting a real timeline of anything together for them to complete the activities. It's kind of like encouraged to like do it maybe the specific day or the specific time, but it doesn't have to be. It's always kind of open and post with that, and having at least one, maybe two live things that each day, where like a Zoom where we can interact live. But then that's kind of it, where it's just like, you know, you finish an activity, post it, or, you know, the counselors would do an activity, post something, and kind of just check periodically throughout the day, not to have it a constant sit at the computer and monitor all day of everything. At least that's what we're doing. We think it's the best way to kind of interact, again, so you're not really just sitting at a computer all day.
Dina, what's up?
we haven't started anything virtual yet. We're still kind of in the process of exploring platforms and whatnot. I think we are going to utilize Zoom. I was on another webinar earlier today, and one of the things that really stuck out to me was something that someone said about connection versus content right now, and the importance of that. And so really keeping that in mind. One of the things that we've done so far is sent a survey out to our families, and we may follow up with another, but really finding out what kind of technology they had at home, if their children are having to share that technology, and what that looks like, and kind of ask the time of day that would be best for some virtual programming. And so we're kind of collecting information right now and just trying to work out all of those bugs. We're kind of offering just some interactive activities that people can take part in on our social media right now. But we're really just in that process of collecting info, but that kind of connection piece has really stuck out to me.
Thank you for sharing that. I think a lot of people are desiring connection right now. And just a quick story, some other camps were sharing that they have campers during their virtual programs that will just log on and not participate in the activity. They'll like watch TV in the background, but they just want to be like around other people. So I think that brings up like another point, just like recalibrating your expectations too, because people have their unique needs, but we also have like the expectations we were going to have about summer camp and what virtual programming will look like, or remote programming will look different. So just being reasonable with ourselves and being forgiving and being open to failure is going to be really important right now. Does anyone else have anything they'd like to share?
So kind of along with what Dina was saying, I love the idea of a survey to families, but we know that we have a group of families that probably don't have access to technology. So one of the things we were looking at trying to engage some of our donors who want to stay involved is we priced out some iPads, and we priced some prepaid Wi-Fi things so that we could have available. I don't know that we'll need a ton of those, but I do feel like we'll need to have some of that available to make that offer to our families. But I think hadn't been smart enough to think about the survey because that would be good to know, like, are they going to still have this access to the school things that have been sent out, or are they pulling them back at a certain point in time? So that was one of the things we were looking at from that standpoint, to just try and make sure that it's accessible to all of our families.
Thank you for that point, Deb.
This is MJ Yuschek from Camp Happy Days. I just kind of want to chime in from the town hall last night, the medical town hall, and I think that's what it was. And someone brought up the really good point about how kids usually will have cell phones. So as much as a family computer may not be available, or a device for each kid, there's a good chance that kid has an iPad themselves, has their phone. But yeah, that is something. And with that, though, there was a little bit of concern of the trickle-down effect of the parents, the information sent to the parents getting to the campers. But someone brought up the phones, and I thought I just wanted to share that in here. Thanks.
MJ, thanks for that point. One thing that another camp brought up is sending like a snail mail to campers, like addressed to campers about upcoming virtual stuff. First of all, kids don't really get mail, and it's an easy way to follow up on an email that you sent to a parent. Because, like, first of all, they'll probably think it's really cool that they've got this like archaic form of communication. And the other thing is, like, you are making them aware of what's going on. But again, like, some of the problems or issues or barriers we had with connecting with families are still going to be present during this time too. So if we had issues with parents receiving emails about residential camp programming, those are still going to be there. So how are you planning on addressing those if residential camp was still going on? So just thinking through those things, and this might give that opportunity to like think outside the box about communicating with your camp and volunteer staff during this time too. Does anybody else have any feedback, questions, concerns? Trying to keep an eye on time. Heather, what's up?
Well, I just want to say that we are going to attempt to do something in 2 weeks. So we had our family camps start in May. We're going to push our late April one to a little bit later. And we have set up a schedule. So we'll start with a bingo game Friday night for the whole family. Then some of the things, we'll give you a link to, we're going to have a couple of live activities. So you can opt in or opt out. You'll have the links. There'll be a Zoom opportunity for parents to talk with other parents. And again, depending on the age of the kids, there'll be a simultaneous activity for the kids. One of the big ideas is throughout the weekend, we'll ask people to do a skit or sing a camp song and send it to us. And we have a volunteer who on Saturday night when they collect them all is gonna put them all together so that the last activity we do is a virtual campfire together and show the different skits and the different things that people have done. We have no idea if this will work, but we're hoping, because we're planning to do several of them after, and there will be a component of it. We just ordered some boxes that, say this virtual family camp, and then on the inside have some fun stuff, and ordered some buffs and some stuff to go in it. So we're gonna give it a try. Happy to share with anyone what does and doesn't work. If anybody's doing anything before that, we'd love to hear what does and doesn't work, but we're doing it soon.
If you haven't seen it, Special Love has done, I think, 3 virtual campfires every Friday on their Facebook page. That's been pretty awesome.
I have seen it and it has been awesome.
Thank you both for sharing that. That's awesome. All right. I have a couple of questions, and if you will join or participate by answering in the chat box, that would be awesome. These are going to be some simple, Special Love is the camp that does the virtual campfire, and it's on Facebook. So you can check Special Love out on Facebook. And I'm happy to shout out what camps are doing. So if you know of things, let me know and we'll shout those things out too. First, yes or no question. Would you be interested in continuing to have a town hall style just for programming? If you don't feel comfortable putting in the chat box, you can shoot me an email, no problem. Awesome, so that was a yes. No problem, we can definitely do that. The game plan going forward, what will be that we'll specifically address one area of programming going forward from the beginning. So for 10 minutes, we'll talk about remote programming. So outside the box, camp in the box. We'll get somebody that's doing that to tell us how that's working for them for 10 minutes. And then for the rest of it, we'll do something similar to this where we can popcorn around and people can tell us how they're feeling, what they're doing, and what they need help with, if that works for everybody. Awesome. All right. The next thing is we will be having a virtual programming webinar session next week. And I'm going to drop that in the chat box. You'll have to copy and paste the registration link. But we are going to try to accomplish 3 things. We're going to give some tips on how to utilize an online platform for camp programming. We're even going to get into how to do a quick and easy camp program for campers or families. And then we'll have some time for question and answers at the end. So if you're interested in that, if anyone at your camp is interested, please share that registration link. Don will also send out an email with that, but wanted to give it to the people on the call first so you can get registered if you wanted to. Before we go, anyone else have any like closing thoughts or questions or concerns?
I have one quick question.
Yeah, Jennifer, what's up?
Is anyone still planning to do any face-to-face programs this year?
Oh, that's a good question. You can answer in the chat box if you want to as well. Even unsure is a good answer.
We would love to, but our camp's in June and our area is not going to hit the surge until late June.
So this is Matt, and we're in New Jersey, so you know we're supposedly in the surge right now. We have not canceled our camp yet. We're the third to the last week of August, so we are at the very tail end of the summer. And I mean, I'm in meetings every day, virtual meetings, with camp docs, and you know we're affiliated with 7 hospitals, so we're kind of trying to get a feel for every hospital and their thoughts on things. And right now, everyone is telling us to wait as far as our area and our things. I shouldn't say everyone. Half of them want us to cancel now, and half of them say wait till the end of May. So right now, yeah, it's the unsure. We're kind of going to wait till mid-May. I'm not going to wait till the end of May because there's too much planning that has to happen. I mean, I'd love to say yes, we're still having it, but I'm like, this far just saying no, we're not doing it. But there's always still that glimmer of hope.
This is Deb from Camp I Hope, and we had mentioned this on the medical town hall. We're researching, ours is the end of June, but we're researching, is there a way to bring families together? Like, we've looked at drive-ins and how far away they are. We've looked at big school parking lots and do like our traditional fireworks because it's our 10-year anniversary, kind of spacing people out. That's really the only thing that we talked about doing that would be live. We're not sure we're going to be able to pull that off, but that's one of the things we're trying to do. So at least there's some kind of waving contact. And we got the idea because in Texas, a lot of churches were doing like a drive-by Easter Sunday thing where they were at least families were there together singing, but spaced out from one another.